Okay, everyone, we'll open this meeting, the March 3rd, 2025 DeKalb County Commissioners. And before we start here on a somber note, Mike Watson has passed, and I'd like to observe a minute of silence, and then we can say a few words in Mike's behalf and start off from there. I just want to say about Mike, we had our differences, we didn't always agree, but there was never a harder working commissioner than Mike Watson. I mean, it was a full-time job for Mike, and he put heart and soul into it. And I always appreciated his intellect. He always had a lot. If I had a question, he had the answer, 9 times out of 10. And so it's just a sad day that he's passed, but yeah. So we go on. Anybody else have comments?
Well, he certainly was a very good mentor for me coming into this job. He's going to be, in my mind, going to be sorely missed. He had the dedication of the county first and foremost. And as a mentor, I am going to miss his words of wisdom.
I'll agree with you, Bill. He was one of the hardest working guys. He worked toward what he believed was best. We disagreed on a few things, but overall he was one of the hardest working guys I know in government.
Okay, thank you. All right, Dottie, you're up and on.
Okay, well, I know you guys have a full agenda, so let's see. Morgan, why don't you talk about, what we're recruiting for right now?
So currently we have the school liaison community nurse open until March 10th. And then we also have our probation officer opening until March 5th, so this Wednesday. The recorder has hired their full and part-time opening. The jail has a new confinement officer starting today. And then the auditor also has hired for a transfer deputy.
Right.
And it looks like the auditor has another position that she could fill, and we're kind of holding off on that one for a little bit until things sort of settle down. So
I had someone, but it's not going to work.
Yep. Yeah. Let's see. I brought over hard copies of. I wanted you to see the turnover rate. No, I already gave everybody. Everybody already has them. Yeah. Thanks, so. Yeah. I know, you're trying to be too efficient. Yeah, for the whole county. As you can tell, we kind of fluctuate when it comes to employees, and these would be full-time and part-time employees, so we have we really have a lot. And some of these separations are retirements, some are voluntary, some are involuntary, so it's kind of the whole range, but you have to put everything together in order to get a true turnover rate. And so overall, what you see there, and so we have a chart. I also have a graph so that you can actually see it maybe a little more visually. What happens there? Actually, there are two that you can see monthly, and then also the quarterly, and then annually. What happened this year, or last year, I should say. So, and last year was we had quite a few retirements last year. So, that kind of brought things up a little bit. But, with retirements, you're filling those positions, or else you are bumping a current employee into that retiree's position, and then you're hiring for the position that you just bumped up. So, it's not bad. Actually, overall, it's probably better than we've had the last several years. We've had a couple departments that have shown some really good changes. One in particular, the sheriff's office. That, for a while, was really bringing us down. It was a revolving door, and so now things have sort of evened out over there. Very happy. Leadership from the top down, as they say. So that's for you guys to keep. If you have any other questions, I know we've already talked a little bit about it.
I do. Do you have a number of retirees that did retire last year?
We would have had about 7 retirees.
I could change the number if you took that out of the equation.
It could if you just want to consider people who are terminating either voluntarily or involuntarily. So, yeah. Now, let's see, what else do we have coming up? We do have a couple more retirees later this year. The recorder's office will have somebody who will be retiring, and that's why she hired for a replacement to train for a while. So that's a nice overlap there. The Superior One has a retiree probably the middle of this year, and so they have hired a new bailiff to take care of that retirement. So those are the only ones that I'm aware of at the present. So a couple other things. We have a department heads meeting on March the 5th at 8 a.m. And Jim Miller will be our moderator of that. I would like to say that last year when Jack Smith, year before, Jack Smith had said that he would be retiring at the end of 2024, and Mike Watson stepped up to the plate and took on that duty as well as everything else that he was doing. And that really started the ball rolling with a lot more communication between our department heads and commissioners. So, I can say that department heads truly appreciated Mike and his leadership with that. And we are appreciating Jim's leadership also. Thank you very much. For coming on board and moderating us. So, and then on the 17th, don't forget, we are having Apex come in, our broker for our health plan, to discuss what our plans are going forward. And I have already authorized them to take a look at our marketing census to see what, start putting together some numbers, since it'll be March before we really get rolling. And then on March the 28th, we have our wellness event. And Morgan, what do you have to say on that? Anything?
So Parkview has our portal all set up, so we will be sending out a link for that at the department heads meeting. I'll have a flyer that you can hang up in your office that has a QR code you can scan. So if you didn't participate last year, you'll just go in and create an account and pick your time for that day, or you can log back into your old account. Good time.
And as a reminder, this is really great to for our employees to receive the Diamond Lab package, which is definitely more than just one step up from what we've been able to do before. The lipid profile, the A1C, getting the comprehensive metabolic panel, our CBC, our complete blood count, and for any of our males over 55, the PSA, that's a great one. We're hoping that we can really promote that with our more mature male colleagues here, and then also the TSH, the thyroid stimulating hormone test, in addition to, your height, your weight, your blood pressure, the BMI, waist circumference, all of that. That is just so much information for our employees to receive, and then if they need to go further with it, to discuss with their physician, then they already have their base numbers, and the doctors can then have real conversations with them, and hopefully have, healthier workforce. So that is pretty much what we have for you guys right now. What do you have for us?
Anything for Dottie?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, you.
Just quick, what is the date for Apex?
Apex is March the 17th. That will be St. Patrick's Day. So, and I already joked with Lauren about bringing green beer, but we're not allowed to have that on premises, so sorry, guys.
I said one comment, Dottie. If I take those 7 retirees out of that equation, it comes down to 17%.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah,
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 just a little FYI.
Good.
Heads up. Okay,
okay,
I think that's it.
all righty.
You're off and running.
Okay, yes, we are. Yeah, see ya.
Okay, have a good day, good week. Okay, gentlemen, let's jump into discussions and do the payroll.
I'll make a motion to approve payroll.
Second.
A motion and second to approve payroll, discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Payroll is approved. Claims, you get a chance to go over the claims. Do you have a claim book signed? No.
Normally it's the payroll book.
Payroll, pay is,
And I had you guys sign it when we were here
oh, okay, that's right.
last week, real quick, yeah.
I told you wrong on that. Claims.
The movie accept claims as presented.
I'll second.
A motion second to approve claims. Comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Claims are approved. Minutes.
For both the 18th and the 24th.
That's right.
Do we need to do those separately?
You can do them together.
Would so move we accept the minutes as presented for both meetings.
I'll second.
Motion and second to approve minutes. Comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Minutes are approved. Okay. Next, we have the Purdue Extension Annual Service Agreement.
So every year, our extension department, we have an annual agreement and a memorandum of understanding that we do with Purdue. And Purdue Extension provides extension services through our county, and they have 3 educators, and they do the local extension services here, like 4-H youth development, ag and natural resources, health and human sciences. So this is just the agreement and MOU to continue those services.
We have to sign this every year, I believe,
Correct.
is it?
Yep.
Yearly, it's. Purdue,
Motion. So move.
Second.
a motion and second. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed? And is approved. Okay, next on the list is DeKalb County Community Corrections Pharmacy Agreement Addendum.
Yes, they already have the agreement with Genoa Pharmacy. They're wanting to just add where they can do instant messaging through the Microsoft Teams and document their responsibilities of safekeeping of like the HIPAA information for the covered individuals. So they're just adding that to the agreement they already had.
Andrew, you looked it over and you're okay with it?
I did look it over and emailed Michelle about it, and I'm satisfied. I mean, that she's on top of what needs to be done there, and I approve it.
So move we accept the item as presented.
I'll second.
A motion and a second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. All right, also for DeKalb County Community Corrections, we have the Johnson Controls Service Agreement.
I reviewed that. It's one of the worst agreements that I see each year, probably the worst worded against the county, but it's also one that we can't really get around or negotiate with them on. As I understand it, they're the only game in town. That's what I understand from the prior year or two.
Yep.
But the contract is just one-sided to the extreme. If there's a fire and Johnson Control is sued over it, a fire in our building, then we have to pay their attorney fees and costs, and it's just crazy. And any claim against them. But I just don't think we have a choice in it.
No, it's been kind of a problem, or a night, I won't say nightmare, but it's been a situation where we're stuck with one company, and there are parts that you can get at other sources, but you can't work on the equipment. And so we're stuck with Johnson, and they kind of named the price.
Also move to accept the Johnson Control Service Agreement.
A motion on the floor and a second, or any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Motion is approved. Okay, the DART, Certification of Pass-Through Entity. The sign,
Yeah.
I thought we did that, didn't we?
That's the Johnson Control. We just did that one.
Oh, this is,
Yeah, I just hadn't passed it yet. Yeah, so DART is we're the pass-through entity for them with their grant dollars, and they have the opportunity to become their own direct recipient, but they are choosing not to. They want to keep the county as their pass-through because they enjoy working with us, and they want to keep the connection with us. So this is them saying that they're keeping it with us, and I will continue to pass the money through to them.
okay,
And blue.
and then blue.
It's the only one that always has to be blue.
Right, right.
I would so move we accept the DART certification of pass-through entity as presented.
Second.
A motion and second on the floor. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, oppose. Motion carries. Okay. We just hum along here. Sunny Meadows, January 2025 combined report approval.
Yes,
Is that approval or is that?
acceptance,
Acceptance.
however you want to do it, yeah. This is for January, and I had scanned all of it in for you, and so after you vote, then there's 3 lines here for you guys to sign on.
Do you want a while to look this over?
Yeah, did you send it to us?
No,
Okay, because I was like, I don't remember
it says
seeing
a
that.
lot.
I didn't.
It was, is it?
I'm pretty sure I did, because that's why I scanned it.
Was it separate from the Monday packet?
I missed it.
Let's see. I don't think so.
Part of the packet.
Oh,
Probably miscellaneous.
Yeah, I was in the miscellaneous folder, and I looked in it, and I have pharmacy, the Board of Health, the pass-through, the comprehensive plan, the corrections,
January 2025 County Home Report.
county home report, okay. That's the Sunny Meadows, I guess I didn't. No, that's okay.
yeah.
We're just accepting it right now, correct?
I didn't go far enough either, Kellen.
Yep.
No. We do a motion of acceptance.
So move to accept as presented.
I'll second.
A motion and second on the floor. Additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, oppose, motion carries. For some reason I couldn't get to slide over to that. I kept trying to keep, and it stopped. and Now
I
it
don't
does.
know.
And it does now, but
And I thought I was being efficient.
it was.
One more signature, mister. This is why you keep me around.
That's right. The only reason. No.
Okay, so the next thing is, you all received a commissioner update for the Woodland Lakes Resource and Conservation Development Board, whatever. So they are asking if the county commissioners would like to remain active in the organization, and that we just need to let them know. So I wasn't sure if you were going to have somebody be our representative, so that's why I put it in here.
You familiar with the organization? Yeah, it's like, kind of like acres, land preservation. I went to one meeting and just didn't have the desire or the time really to contribute to it, so I didn't go to any others. I don't know if anybody's interested in.
I'm interested. I went to the soil water and soil meeting, I talked to the gentleman about it, and I'm
Okay.
interested in it, so.
And Kellen's info, I suppose,
Okay, so
contact.
do you want to officially appoint him as your representative?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, motion?
So move to accept as presented.
I will second. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed? Kellen is the man.
Andrew, quick question. If I was to attend their meeting, would that be acceptable?
Attend as as a public coming, but not
Yeah,
actually
not as a
sitting.
commissioner, but
Yeah.
as,
I think yes, I think you can. You just wouldn't want to necessarily start actively participating in every vote discussion. That would start to be a little questionable. But yeah, you could definitely show up as a member of the public.
just to go to listen.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just, introduce yourself, Jim Miller, and leave it at that. So it's nice. You never know who might pick up on, and 2 commissioners being there.
Well, and
But as you,
Jeff Conrad had asked me if I would attend, and I said, I need to check first to make sure.
I think it's okay to attend as a member of the public. I don't see a problem with that.
Okay. Moving on. Do one more here, Board of Health Certificate of Appointment Signature.
Yes, so I had provided you guys a explanation on how this whole board appointment thing happens. So, February 14th of 2024, the council had originally appointed Janice, and then things got switched up because the council can only appoint a member of the general public, so their appointment had switched to Mr. Hollaball. So Janice's technically came back as the commissioner's piece of it. That was suggested from the Board of Health. And I haven't figured this part out yet, but even though the Board of Health is the one that provides you with this person, you guys still vote on it and sign the actual certificate of appointment. So we need you to just vote that Bill can go ahead and sign this as the commissioner so that they have an official certificate on record for Janice. And it would be from February 14th of 24 through December of 27, yeah.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion and a second on the floor. Comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Now we're done with all the health department boards.
Yes,
Okay.
praise the Lord.
Okay. Let's move on to the meeting agenda at this point. A BCA contract for Brownfield. What do we got on the Brownfield?
These guys? This is the one that I have, so don't write on it. Good. Don't open the drawer. I'm watching.
Hi, Commissioners. We have the contract for, we discussed this at the last meeting, getting in a contract with BCA for the Brownfield assessment grant that we received last year. It's for $500,000. Anton can speak to the grant itself if you've got more questions on that, but Andrew's been through the agreement. The only thing he questioned was the location of the, if we would happen to go to court, which shouldn't be any issues, but.
Everybody likes to have their own
Yeah,
sort of venue
Jurisdiction.
clause
Yeah.
down in Bloomington, Indiana, but,
Yeah.
you know.
but anyway, that's the
Hopefully
only
there
thing
won't be
that was questioned, but a pretty straightforward agreement. It's an hourly rate up to, what we were awarded. Anton, anything else you want to add as far as the grant itself and working with BCA?
I know I relatively, or covered it pretty in-depth at the last meeting on the
Yeah.
updates, but again, $500,000 over the next 4 years to utilize for brownfield assessment on a number of sites. Other than that, any questions you may have. But once we get this contract signed, then we can hit the road running and begin the process.
You already have the money.
No, it comes, it'll be kind of like a pass-through. It kind of comes as they present projects and whatnot. So it's not any of our, county dollars.
No,
Yeah.
I just didn't know if we had it in a
Yeah,
separate
it-
account so that when he bills it.
Yeah, they
we can
have
go ahead
to submit things before it will come and, so that the grant people know what they're actually giving money for.
Yeah.
Did I hear that right, as just for assessments of brownfields?
So the primary purpose is for the assessment process of it. But given how many assessments we can do, if there's funds allowed through that process, there's the ability to use those for some remediation process on a handful of sites.
What I wanted to hear. Anything else?
Just for the general knowledge for the public, how much does one of these assessments usually cost?
I think ballpark on it can anywhere from two to 3,000 for an just a general assessment. If the first assessment comes back okay, then you get the all clear. If it goes into a phase 2, which can have a bigger price tag to it, and then determining what that mediation, it's on a site-by-site basis, but that first phase assessment, if you will, can be anywhere from, again, 2,000 to 3,000 on the site, maybe a little bit more, but that's not where the real costly aspect of those come into. It's on the phase 2 and further remediation.
And again, for general information, this grant has to go to a 503C, correct? What we discussed.
So the grant itself is applied through the EPA, but is used through county government through that as the applicant for that. So the EPA holds those funds, which then can be used through the county through the county process, and then is paid to a season. It's set on a draw basis based on the services rendered. So the EPA holds those funds. But as far as the dollars for those dollars do not have to go through a C3 or a 501C in that process.
We use the economic development agreement, DeKalb County Economic Partnership to write the grant and get the grant. So the county is getting the dollars, but
They're the ones that receive.
right,
Yeah,
right. So it's not like they only award it to 501c3s. They were just the ones that applied for the grant. That makes sense?
Informational for
Yeah,
people,
yep.
Any other questions? Comments?
Do you have a process in place for the municipals to reach out to you about brownfields?
Yes, and we will continue to develop that once we get the consultant online as far as the strategy of using it. Up to this point, yes, there has been many conversations with the municipals and through our board of directors, of which through the Economic Development Partnership, to make them aware of this process. So yes, we've made initial inquiry when it was time to put the potential sites together for the grant application, and then we'll continue to be in contact with our municipal communities here in DeKalb County to give recommendations on potential sites that could be identified. But also, we're going to lean heavily on the expertise of the BCA group through their experience here on how we could better utilize that or better modify that process, or but making sure that everybody in DeKalb County has the ability to tap into that.
I think it's a great program. I'm glad that you guys applied for it and received it. I think it's going to be great for DeKalb County. So I just want to make sure everybody's involved and everybody's got an opportunity at those funds. So also make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the CA contract for Brownfield. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is approved. All right, moving on. Anton, you're right back up. Anton King, 2025 fee agreement.
Well, good morning. I know last commissioner meeting, I was here to present on updates for our DeKalb County Economic Development Partnership and also the 2025 fee-for-service agreement. At that time, it was tabled and was allowed to have a discussion with a few of the commissioners for information, just to provide context and update on that. But with that, I'd open up to any questions that you may have additionally for myself or the organization.
Questions, comments?
Anton, I thought we had a very good conversation about agriculture, and we need to move forward with that aspect, and he's working on some numbers for me.
Sat down with him last Wednesday or Thursday. Had some nice conversation with him. One of the things that we kind of, during that conversation was he would like to have some guidance on what to do. That was kind of things we brought up. So part of the guidance I would like to give you today would be, I would like to see a good chunk of the brownfields to be at least phased one. Have, at least end of the year, have all the brownfields municipals to at least be identified, maybe not go through the phase one, but at least work on that process. It'd be something that, some guidance for you. I think that's a great program. I think talking to the mayors and other departments to make sure we're having an opportunity to check out the gas stations and all those brownfields that are out there. And then also on a side note, I would like to see some growth at the airport. But we talked about that too. So.
What was that, growth where, airport?
Airport, at the airport. But I'm content with our conversation, and I'm fine with it. I feel like Jim is too, so.
It appears to be about the same contract language as for prior years, so I was fine with it.
I was curious, Anton, on the DCEDP activity, that last set of numbers you have there. In 2024, investment was $754 million, created 102 jobs. You go down the line here to 2021, investment was 170, almost 177 million, created 729 jobs. It's a big swing in numbers in opposite directions of each other.
No question. So for some context on that information, I'm going to pull that up for you. Yeah, so in that 2024 was, I would say, a capital-intensive types of projects, so particularly with automation aspects of that. Again, as we do have a relatively tight job market through that, we're seeing companies make investments in automation processes or particularly reinvesting in facilities that have been around for 30-some years, where there's a lot of retooling that that equipment has kind of lived its first phase of life, and so they're making more capital investments in the equipment to continue production and make efficiencies along those ways. As far as the job creation aspect, it depends on a project by project basis. Obviously, in 2024, that with the large number of investment, a big chunk of that was the Walmart distribution center in the Garrett Industrial Park, with north of a $500 million investment in that facility. And also that, I believe that there was a creation of maybe 30 jobs associated with that. So again, it kind of depends on the year, as far as some projects are very capital intensive with small to limited job creation, and then other types of projects are bigger job creators with a lower capital investment. So,
Have they applied for an abatement?
so for the Garrett the Walmart distribution facility project. So on that project would have been worked with the city of Garrett in that process, of which they did apply for a tax abatement of a shorter duration to phase in capital, phase in that personal and real property tax over time.
Okay. Just curious what was involved. I had a suspicion it had something to do with the Walmart Center, but I wasn't totally sure. Okay, Given that, any more comments, questions? I'll entertain a motion.
I also move we accept the contract as presented.
I'll second.
A motion, a second on the floor. Additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, oppose. Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Anton.
Okay. Let's move back down to discussions. The comprehensive plan focus groups. Chris, you have something on that?
He doesn't. He knows nothing about it. I put it on there. I put it on there because he had emailed all of us, letting us know that the focus groups for the plan would be March 6th at the Jam Center and April 3rd at Butler Town Hall from 9 to 4 those days. Both of those days will also have public workshops from 5 to 7. But he had asked for you guys to send back like the order of topics that he listed, like number them. So I was just putting it out there to remind you to send him the information and to let everybody know about these. So there's nothing you need to do. It was,
And is that, am I correct, is that to invite the public?
the public is from 5 to 7, not during the day. Yeah, just 5, the public is the 5 to 7 times those days.
Okay. Let's jump over into the travel policy discussion. You get that email request? We've kind of gone through some of this previously.
I don't know if you guys are even ready to talk about it, and we don't have to. I just want it out there. Give everybody time to review it really good, because I would really not like to not have to amend this again. So if you're not ready to talk about it, then I say we just wait until the next meeting or so that everybody has time to actually digest it.
What do you think?
I'm okay with that.
We'll just wait until,
Table it for now.
okay.
Okay.
And then the last thing, Judge Squiller had emailed me, and I wasn't really aware of this, but they have a JRAC committee, and I guess one of the commissioners are a representative on there, and he was asking which one of you that was. I said, I'm not sure, so I will ask them today. And it's for the Justice Reinvestment Act Council. But they have an upcoming meeting on March 17th also, along with all of ours. But he is just wanting to know which one of you is going to be the representative. I'm pretty sure it was Watson, now that he had said that, but we hadn't talked about it at the end of the year and all of that. Kellen says no. Okay, gentlemen,
Not enough boards right now.
want to flip a coin?
I don't know anything about it. I mean,
You can learn and come and tell us all. I don't know. Saying no.
we're already meeting on the 17th. What time of the day?
I'm not sure about that. He just wanted me to let him know who, and then he would get in contact with whoever.
It's kind of hard, I'm sorry, it's hard to make a decision on if I don't
Knowing how
know.
much they meet.
Well, when they meet, what time they meet. I mean, if they're meeting on Monday mornings at 8 o'clock or 8:30, or Thursday mornings at 8:30.
Okay, how about we skip this? I will get in contact with him while we finish the rest of the meeting, and then we'll come back to it.
Fair enough.
Deal?
How often do they meet?
That's what I'm going to find out.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I would take it.
We'll just move out of this.
Okay.
And we'll come back.
I would take it. If nothing else, Jim doesn't want to do that, I would do it.
Okay, well, I
Let's
guess
see.
for our own information, we still need to know what time
Right.
of day or how many times and.
Okay. Next on the agenda, developmental service remodel. And I think we're going to flip this around a little bit and have public comment first. First off, though, I have a floor plan up there on the table. We can all, anyone that's interested, the department heads, especially one that's not here yet, but she has seen it. So let's go ahead and walk over and take a look at that floor plan, and then we'll start the discussion with those department heads that will be involved in this building project and the move that takes place. And then we'll go forward with commissioner discussion. Okay, comments from the public on this?
Do you want to give a brief,
Okay.
what you're talking about, so
Yeah,
that
you're
everybody
right.
that was watching
I'm ahead of myself here.
knows what's happening?
I got notes here somewhere. Okay. We talked about remodeling the original facility or building. And this is a need-to-do project one way or the other. And the reason is lack of space, inefficiency of space. And the old facility is actually probably a fire hazard because the electrical system is way inaccurate. The reason I've switched my focus to a new building is the inefficiency of the footprint of the existing building. That building is only 25 foot wide, 115 foot long. And if we try to move the V&A into that facility, it's about 3,000 square foot. It's going to make everything cramped for everybody. So we will not alleviate the cramping situation. It's an old building. It needs absolutely everything to bring it up to code and bring it up to where it should be. It needs a new roof. It needs all mechanical, all plumbing. And just complete gut out and tear down. And another reason that's kind of a problem is we'd have to move those offices out of there into a temporary facility. And not knowing what that's going to cost or how long that might be, I don't think that is the way to go on it. As far as building a new structure, there again, we'd have to temporarily move the offices out of there. The footprint of the new building would be 42 feet by 96 feet. And that would have a center hallway, as you see on the print, which makes it a lot more efficient. To remodel the old facility, we're looking at $600,000. The quote on the new one, as it's presented on the print right now, is just over $1.4 million. And that would leave us room to expand. All those officers would be larger. We can move the VA in that building and more room for health department to expand in their existing building. I'll probably say we get some options on this roof design. There may be some increase in the price. I'll probably be asking, if you approve this, I'll probably be asking council for $1.5 million. Just make sure we have enough. So at this point, anybody, department heads or public like to make comments? For or against?
Rick Ring, as your liaison to the county council, I suggest that you bring this to the council probably this week to get their feelings on this, because at one point last year, or maybe it was even later the year before, we had talked about doing a comprehensive space study for all of our departments located in the courthouse, in the annex building, and in the health department building as to what we needed. There are issues with, the commissioners have brought up issues with security here in the courthouse. We had talked about switching departments, moving people that needed security into the courthouse, moving others outside. And then we have the jail. The jail is still the #1 issue. We have never been able to meet the requirement of 80 prisoners or less since we built the community corrections. Now, community corrections took quite a few people out of the jail, but it only works for those people that have been convicted of something. And if you've watched the stats here lately, the number of people in the jail that have not been to court yet continues to increase. So I think the jail is still the number one project and is going to need to be addressed before any of this other stuff takes place. That has been our main focus. So I just said, please bring it to the council next week so that we can let the full council know what their opinion is. You know, maybe they all disagree with me. All I am is the liaison between the two of us. So, but that's where I feel right now that jail's got to come first.
That was my intention, to bring it to the council next week. In regards to the jail and this facility is a must-do. Something's got to be done with it. It's either now or later. And as we've seen with the highway department and the jail, those both got kicked down the road. The money on the highway department almost doubled. The money on the jail will surely double by the time we get to it. At that point, when you do the jail, we will be looking at 2 significant bond payments. My suggestion to the council will be to pay this out of pocket. We made over $3.3 million in interest last year. And my suggestion would be, surely there's funds there that could do this $1.5 million, $1.4 million. I don't know how that all works legally, but if that could happen, we'd have this done, have it out of the way, and we can concentrate on the jail. If we don't do this before the jail, it may not get done till community corrections is paid off or the jail's paid off.
Well, number one, we've already said that we're not doing the jail until community correction is paid off. So that again, you're kicking another can down the road again, and it's the one that keeps going up at a greater percentage each time.
And this is going to keep
And as you
going up,
pointed
too.
out at our last council meeting, with the issues that are going on in the legislature today, we may not know whether or not we even have the money to pay the $800,000 annual bond payment on the highway, because they may change enough things that we have to use what we have in the bank. So until the legislature is done, I don't think anything can be decided, because that the original proposal was going to cost each one of the local governments, county included, a substantial amount of money. And we don't know where we're going to be after this legislature is finished. So until those things are well known, I don't think we should make any movement. But then it's a decision of the full council. I'm just giving you what my opinion is.
I would like to remind you, Rick, and the public that I made a comment at the last council meeting that we not grant any more abatements due to the consideration for the SB1 reduction in property tax, but council saw fit to grant approximately $60,000 abatement to a small company. Not a big amount of money, but on the other hand, it sounds like every cent counts. So it's kind of, what I want to say, talking on both sides of the mouth, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, moving forward, appreciate the comments, Rick, by the way. That's what it's about. Let's shift over to the commissioners, unless there's somebody else who wants to speak to this. And we'll switch over to the commissioners. Commissioners' comments?
Well, I'm in partial agreement with Rick that myself, that savings that the $3+ million, my number one priority is looking at, and now that I have access to see those numbers in the jail, that has to be our number one priority. This project is, and I have nothing against making improvements, I certainly don't. My thought process is, number one, that we need to consolidate our buildings and not create another building. You added that there's additional monies, because I'm nowhere in here did I see that we have the cost of an additional generator, which we just did that a week or 2 weeks ago. So that would be an additional generator. Maintenance cost, I don't see I mean, that's just a building, but every time you put up a new building, there's additional maintenance costs. And I totally agree that the health department has needs, and to do some remodeling in the Plan Commission office, it probably is definitely needed. However, we need to save every penny that we're getting towards this new jail. It's been kicked down the road long enough. We're asking for legal issues down the road if we don't do something with it and do something. And I'd rather be much more proactive and have a say in it instead of having a judge mandating that we're past the point where we need to do something. It almost happened once from my recollection, and I don't want to go down that road. I want to be proactive, and even though the county council has said we're going to pay off community corrections first, we need to save every bit of money we can for the new jail. The cost certainly is not going to go down. It was kicked down the road because it was going to be cost savings down the road. It certainly is going to be more interest now. We had a chance at almost 0% interest on bonds, and we all know what interest rates have done, and I don't see construction costs coming down. We need to plan to do the jail first. I don't mind doing some kind of remodeling, but we just need to not kick this can down the road any further. That's the elephant in the room needs to be taken care of. That's my thought.
My thought is, I think we need to wait till we see what the will of the council kind of is, and also I want to see what the legislation comes out to be. I think we can wait a couple more weeks to see how that all, with the property tax and everything, kind of works itself out, because it's been flipped to the other houses, respectively, and I think until we get an idea of what our finances are going to look like going forward, what the property tax and all these other things that they're looking at, I think it would behoove us to just kind of wait a little bit and see and bring this conversation back up at another date, in my opinion.
Well, we need to remind everyone there's a 30-day time on this proposal for the new building, so we might run past that and have to have it re-quoted. As far as the generator, there's not any plan to put a generator at that facility. It's a facility I would think could shut down for a day or two and not suffer a great loss of service to the public. It's pretty much understandable, I think, if there's that kind of a power outage.
The one thing I would point out to you, though, is if you're going to move the health department into this building, okay, this is not going to include the health department.
VA.
Rick, when's the session done for legislation?
They have to be done by April 20th. Yeah.
And with this building project, there'd have to be like a whole bid process, right?
No, this would be a bot.
It would be a bot,
And
okay,
it-
like the highway department was a bot?
Yeah, it's a bot, I quote, through Letterman Construction. And the difference between this bot and the one they did on the highway, one of the differences is with the highway, we had a separate architect and a separate construction company, and there was a lot of back and forth blaming each other when things went wrong. Under this bot, Letterman Construction has the architecture, the project manager. They even erect the erection of the steel building. They have their own personnel that does that also. So it's all in one package. Nobody can blame the other side or the other guy when something goes wrong. It's all on them. I do want to express, this would include the sewer hookup, the water hookup, the gas hookup, tap fees. This includes tearing down the existing building, filling in the basement, and return that to a gravel parking lot. So that would be a substantial amount of money to have that completed, but it's included in this price of $1.4 million.
I hate to keep bringing things up, but you better check with the city of Auburn. Gravel parking lots within the city limits may not be allowed.
Well, that's where they'd bring it to. If we'd had to, we could pave it.
Okay, but
Yeah,
that'd be an
I would-
additional expense.
Yeah, we could pave it. There would be some expense possibly.
Having been through several school projects, I'm a person that likes the bid process, simply to keep things, and this, as a member of the school board, we did exactly what you're proposing, having one company do it all, and we paid through the nose. Even though you would think it wouldn't go that way, I would want an independent person outside of a construction company to oversee the project. That would be additional cost, but
I have a person that will do that.
you just said they were doing everything.
Well, they do everything. They have that person, I have an additional person that will do that.
But I'm still in favor of the bid process. One company doing the bidding is not a very good use of taxpayer money, as far as I'm concerned.
The cost savings is the fact that they do have everything in-house. When you start to build out piece by piece, it starts to get expensive also. It can go the other way, as we saw with the highway, we come out very well on that, considering all the challenges that was there with that property and so forth.
But there are other companies that can do the exact same thing that they're proposing,
Bring them to me then,
which is why I'm in favor of the bid process.
okay?
I want to point out two things. One, on the community corrections bond, and Rick can confirm this with me, is we cannot pay that off early, correct? But it
no,
wasn't,
it
it wasn't a viable option.
Correct.
Correct, okay. So I know some of the public's like, why don't we just take that money and go ahead and pay off the bond and move forward? I just wanted to clarify with that.
The other thing on that bond is we were one of the first, if not the first, that used the community, I can't remember, the correctional facility tax that we used to pay those bonds. Because we were early, we were in the first version of it that it is not allowed to be extended. The people that use the later version of it can extend theirs. We cannot. So we're limited in the number of years that we can have that tax rate, income tax rate to pay those bonds. And so if we can't let those years go by, because as soon as that community correction bond is paid, we can bond for the jail using that same income tax, but only for the limited time that we'll have left. And I don't remember the exact number of years that we have yet on that, but it was limited. Now, that's not to say that we couldn't ask the legislature to give us a special exemption, but if they do, we would have to go back to the legislature and ask for that exemption and get the extension. And they could deny it, so.
I remember right, Rick, we'd have 10 years left on that tax.
Something like that.
Yeah, I think it was 20 years, we used up 10 years. And I would suspect, I don't know, but there again, I would suspect if we already have that in place, that they may extend it. Due to the fact it's already in place.
It's possible.
Right.
I did ask that when they changed those requirements for the new one, and when I asked at that time, I was told, no, we were not allowed to extend ours.
So, now, things may have changed.
Right,
We got a whole bunch of
exactly.
different legislators down there now. And there have been, before this type income tax was available, there was a number of counties had gone and asked for special permission for different taxes. We would have that available to us. But it would be a crapshoot. They might give it to you, they might not. So, and again, we don't know what this legislature is going to do as far as property tax and income tax and everything else. So everything is in flux. And I think we all want solid answers before we invest in anything.
A question on this legislature. Of course, it's been proposed, now it's not going to be as bad as the originally proposed. And it's my understanding that this is an actual decrease in funds. It's a decrease in the increase of taxes.
Well, that's part of it. That's part
There's
of
a
it.
decrease
Well,
of the
because
increase.
what they're doing is part of the deal is reverting to a previous year's assessed value. not taking the current assessed value, but reversing it back to, I think one of the proposals was taking it back all the way to 2022. But I will tell you that in the original, and I think the revised reduced it from $8 million down to $7 million. And as I did the calculations on the original proposal, of that $8 million that DeKalb County was going to lose in the third year, 18% of that total was county funds. 22% of that total was city and town funds. 48% of that total was the schools. It was going to just kill the schools. Now, the percentages have stayed the same pretty much. There's a few tenths of a percent difference, but it's moved now from $8 million down to 7 something. So that's where we're at. And we just don't know, because they're planning on replacing a lot of the property tax effects with income tax. Well, income tax is going to go up and down every year, where you can pretty much plan on what you're going to get with property tax. And you have to realize that even though everybody wants to complain about property tax, that is actually one of our lowest taxes. And Indiana does not pay nearly what some states pay in property tax. In fact, they kept touting the state income tax, doing away with that. Well, that was fine, except for those states that they were pushing, Texas and Florida, that had no state income tax, have some of the highest property tax in the entire country. So that we've got to be careful about those things.
Okay. All right, let's table this for now. We'll come back to it after the executive session and move on with Andrew Provines.
Andrew Provines, 3920 County Road 75. I'm actually just here on behalf of Butler. I had been talking to Chris Daumer and very briefly with Andrew Cruz, not within here, just on the possibility of utilizing the county permitting system for Butler permits as well. It makes a lot of sense. We already have an interlocal agreement, as do most of the municipalities aside from Auburn, where the county utilizes their system to do our building permits, as well as we don't have our own building inspector. So the only thing we really do over in Butler is we grant improvement location permits. We do less than 100 of those a year. Currently, we can't really align those with the building permits that are issued because the building permits are within the county system. We actually went out to the same vendor to ask questions, could we get this system? Could we somehow combine it with the county? Could we do something that would allow us to see? Because when we issue a permit on our side, we don't really have the ability to line that up with what gets issued on the county side. The interlocal agreement, and the person I was talking to over at that software company, it said it would take some interlocal agreements. Well, we'd like to actually pursue that so that, we're not buying an entire new software that we can't even see the other side of the process. We would be utilizing the county software. Our permits would become county permits. We would have the ultimate say whether they get approved or not, but we would literally be using the county permits. It would take a change of the interlocal agreement, so I'm really just here asking to pursue that with both Chris and Andrew Cruz as the lawyer to help us revamp or create a new interlocal agreement for Butler and DeKalb County.
My understanding of this is you pretty much do a lot of this anyways, correct?
So each municipality that we have that's part of that interlocal agreement, like Andrew said, except Auburn, has their own improvement location permits, and that's kind of the zoning side of things, setbacks, height, mass, permitted use, that sort of thing. And then the county, through that interlocal agreement, issues the building permit side. So we do the building inspections, make sure it meets building code, that sort of thing. What Andrew's idea is that they could utilize our permitting software for the improvement location permit side, and then we go in under that improvement location permit and fill out and issue the building permit. That's kind of how we do it now with the counties, is we have an improvement location permit, right under that, with the same building permit, or same permit number, is the building permit. So it's kind of two separate approvals, I guess, and there's two separate check boxes, if you will, that I can go in and approve the improvement location permit to make sure it meets building code, and then Jeff goes in and makes sure that it meets, or sorry, I go in and make sure it meets zoning code, and then Jeff Martin, the building inspector, goes in and checks the box to make sure it meets the building code, and then has the inspection list as well. So it would make it way easier for us to work together, meaning if you live in Butler and you need to go get, you come to the county because you think you need to get a building permit for your garage addition, we send you back to Butler to get your improvement location permit, and then you have to bring that permit back to us to do the building permit side. So it's, round trip an hour and a half to get your permit. And if we were able to do this, theoretically, they could be at Andrew's office. Andrew fills out all the information they need, they pay his fee, and then we see it simultaneously. Once that's created, we just refresh our browser, and it's already on there. And then we can go ahead and issue the building permit, take their fee at the same time.
Tracking, organization, it would help all that, and we already.
For their side, yes, because
Yes.
nothing's digitized in Butler, right?
Right, we're not currently digitized. We've been looking into permitting software, and without the ability to tie it to the counter, or to the county, we kind of stopped. We're like, well, we want to be able to tie this to the county so that we can organize this better and understand what's going on at both levels. This would save Butler money, as well as we currently pay a fee to Auburn for that service, for the building permits and stuff. We would be looking to save ourselves money, but also pay the county.
You don't mean Auburn, you mean you pay the county.
Sorry, county. Butler pay the county for those services a little bit more than we currently do.
So it would save you guys money, it would save the county money.
Yeah,
also.
We'd help pay your guys' fee, and we wouldn't have to get our own software that would not hook in with the county, that we would still have the same issues we have today.
Yeah. And to be honest, I would love for this to happen with all the municipalities. I mean, each of them typically use their own. I know Waterloo just got into a contract with iWorks.
Yeah.
But I think that if we can show that this is could be an easy, seamless transition, I think that it's something that we could use for all the municipalities that we do have the interlocal with.
The biggest qualm on the Butler side, and this was expressed by Plan Commission over there, they had concerns over control. So we're not looking to give control to the county, make Chris make the zoning decisions for Butler. We would still give a yes or no based on it being our ordinance over there. But from then it would flow through the system.
Of a paperwork flow.
It's exactly. It's more of a paperwork flow than a control flow.
And we would be looking to actually adopt like the improvement location permit for the county, as opposed to having a Butler specific one. The county's improvement location permit is actually very good. So we might as well not recreate the wheel, so to say.
I think a
You
while
said
back.
that the county did something good? Andrew.
Hey, come on.
We all get gold stars from Andrew Provines.
I had some discussions, I think, with Andrew and maybe with Chris too.
some email discussions.
and, about different ways this would work, and I think I feel comfortable with this way. It seems like I had reviewed the contract a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it was, I think with the interlocal agreement, it will be something that will then be allowed by the company. So, because it'll all be a county permit side thing.
Yeah, it will no longer be a Butler permit, it will be a county permit.
I think that's the move that probably makes it okay.
And my ask is really just to work with Andrew and Chris to get that new interlocal agreement, break us out of the current one that you're only doing building permits, break us out of that and kind of make it personal to Butler here. This is what we're doing with Butler specifically.
Yeah, and whether that we do that as an amendment to or an addendum to the current interlocal agreement, or we just, pull Butler out of the interlocal and have a separate one with Butler. I don't know how to do that. I mean,
want us
it's
today
kind of,
to-
that's just we just want to get you guys to say, yeah, that sounds like something.
Either you guys are
for.
against it or you
Yeah,
guys are for it.
Yeah,
and
we'd
go
hate to
ahead
do
and
all this
draft a
work,
new
'cause it's going to
agreement.
take us some work to get this figured
I'm
out.
for it. If it's going to save the county money, you guys money, and makes it getting permits easier for contractors,
I brought the mayor too, if you guys want to talk to him.
He's sitting in the back.
I'll let him stay in the back. Just Chris has to come up front. Unless Jim wants him to come up.
So Chris, what does Garrett do now?
So typically, all the municipalities did their own improvement location permit, and then the contractor or the homeowner would bring that permit to our office. We would use the information that's on their permit and issue the building permit. Or Andrew or Vivian or whoever would email those to Charity and Meredith and myself, and one of us would issue the building permit for that. But there's oftentimes, whether that's email doesn't come through, something, contractor doesn't come to the office, they don't realize they actually need a building permit, they think they have their permit through Butler or.
Or they try to get a building permit but never get an improvement
Correct.
location permit, or they come to me and get an improvement location permit, and I say, okay, you need to go get a building permit from the county, and that never happens.
Right.
It would just kind of tie it all together. And we want to, going forward, I mean, Butler is looking to partner with the county anywhere we can to not, spend a bunch of money with things that have already been done at the county. If it makes sense, we would like to partner with the county.
Yeah.
So the other half of that is, are the county inspector then going to Garrett to oversee it?
Correct, so we do all the building inspections for anything within municipality limits of Garrett, Butler, Waterloo, Ashley,
Corona.
our side, or yes, correct, Corona, well, we do Corona anyway, St. Joe, right.
Everything in the county.
Everything except Auburn, and then we don't do anything for Hamilton. So we do everything, which is a weird gentleman's agreement that I've never understood, and it just kind of has happened, is that we do all of Ashley, even up in Steuben County, and Steuben County does all of Hamilton, including what's in DeKalb County.
And I can tell you that is that way for the political side of things too.
Oh, really?
It's because the majority of the population is on our side or their side.
So if I live in, so if I would live in Ashley and Steuben County side, I'd vote for,
No, you do vote, well, you vote in the school elections because the Ashley side is in DeKalb
Okay.
School District. But as far as setting up voting and all that, I handle the Ashley side and Rick Michael handles the Hamilton side because that's where the majority of the population.
why don't we just annex that side then? Let's just change our,
The counties.
let's change our county lines.
Like Chris is never going to be commissioner.
Wow.
Anyways, Andrew, you're on board with this? You think this is?
Yes, I'm on board with, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm on board with it. I think it's going to save money for everybody, and I think it makes it easier.
The efficiency will be there, and I think that if we can show Garrett and Waterloo that it's efficient when their contracts are up in time, wouldn't ask them to be like, you got to do it within the next year, but to try to get them on board as well.
One more quick question. So the applicant in Ashley that is adding onto their garage ends up paying the county inspector?
Correct. So we have our building permit fees that are charged to the contractor or the homeowner, whoever that's getting the building permit, whether that's in the county or Ashley. Yep.
I mean, it's that way with all the
Yep.
towns, correct?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for Andrew to go ahead with the updating or do a new agreement, depending on how he feels about it.
Do you want to include for Provines to work with those two?
To know how Provines,
All right.
the city planner, and Chris and Andrew to come up with an
I was going to say, when you said Andrew, you need to clarify Cruz or Provine, but you're looking at me, so, yeah.
Okay. Someone needs to change their name.
Too many Andrews, too many Ricks, too many Mikes. You never know.
And Jim will second
Only
that.
one Susan,
Okay,
that's right. You couldn't have many more.
Okay, motion and second on the floor. Additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, folks. We appreciate it.
Okay, break time.
Break time.
All right, we are ready when you guys are ready.
Okay, we are back. And Mr. Parker, what you got today?
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
By this morning.
Good.
I have, first thing this morning for you, I have the bonds from API Construction. We have the payment bond and performance bond. This is for the Community Crossings Matching Grant project that's going to take place. The bonds are for $1,736,931. I reviewed these, also scanned them, sent them off to Mr. Cruz for review. So they're here. These are the original copies for Susan. It probably wouldn't hurt you guys to make a motion and accept those just for record. That way, if something happens, we do have to draw on them, it's publicized.
Also make that motion.
I will second.
Better catch up here.
Yeah.
Go for it.
A motion and a second on the floor, you got it?
Yep.
Okay, any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, next thing I have, just to follow back up from the last meeting, the agreement with Butler, Fairman, and Seifert to move forward with Bridge 75, final plans. You guys okay with proceeding forward with that?
That's the one on County Road 16?
Yes. Right, well, because the original contract, we never put the final design and plans in it because we didn't know what structure we was going to go with. So I knew this was coming. We was waiting to determine from the hydraulics and analysis of what was going to be required, and we are going to require another bridge up there. So it was the amount of not to exceed hourly rate of $43,500. So if you guys are okay with that, I'll proceed forward with that.
I would still make a motion that allow Ben to proceed forward with that bridge as presented.
I'll second.
A motion and a second on the floor, additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
Susan, I'll send you a signed copy of that.
Thank you.
The last thing I have for you, I am working on the bid specs for the covered bridge. I am doing that internally. I feel pretty confident with what I'm doing with it, and it will save us some money from having to consult with USI with that. So I worked through USI a little bit with Faith Morrison over some minor details of the load ratings, and I think we're going to be within that and be fine. So I started a bid spec, and I actually just give a copy of it to Andrew, and then once I get that complete, I'll forward it off to you guys for your reference to look at. The one thing I did want to ask you while I'm drafting that, if you'd like me to require a bond for that. Because we don't know who's going to get it. It's going to be bid. I'm speculating the cost is going to be $150,000 to $180,000. I'm speculating. By law, we don't have to require a bond because it's under $250,000, so we don't have to. If we do require one, actually the cost of the bond is just going to come back to the county. But it's sometimes could be good to have. So I can include that if you like. I could do a performance bond or payment bond for the full amount of the bid price, or we can leave that out of the specification. I just want to ask you guys your direction, how you'd like me to write that.
I would suggest that we do.
And I totally agree. It's pretty cheap insurance for the long haul.
And it's a special project. It's kind of some unknowns there as far as what's involved with the river and the environmental details of it. And if something goes...
I was leaning that way, but I wanted to make sure you guys was in agreement. So I will add that to that specification, Andrew, in there then.
Yes, and I didn't see any problem with it upon review.
So I will add that to my specifications, and then I'll send you guys all the draft copy. I'll copy that to Susan, and then if you see anything you like added or taken out, let me know. But I think I've got it covered, the quantities and everything, so I feel pretty good about it. And,
Would you want to run by the other commissioners what we talked about as far as the fascia
oh,
and get their input on that if they desire?
well, we got ruled out on that.
Did it get ruled out?
Yes. Yes, I talked to Bill beginning of last week. I went out and looked at the covered bridge, got some quantities and measurements. And the one, I guess you'd call it like the window overhang on the south side is extremely drooped. There's no way we're gonna be able to put steel on it, so that's gonna have to all be redone. And then on the roof, all the rafter tails are sticking out all the way around the bridge. And when looking at that, I thought it'd be great to go ahead and put fascia board on that, wrap that, it would protect the rafter tails, and then we could have a cleaner look with starting that with like a drip edge and the steel. So I emailed the DNR pictures, and with what I was asking to do, they agreed with the window overhang that needs to be redone, but I need to get it back as close as original as I can. And then they went through some pictures back of the covered bridge. It's always had exposed rafter tails, so they will not let me put fascia on it. So there's a lot of covered bridges that have fascia on it. And my preference is I think it makes it look a lot nicer too. Not alone does it also protects the rafter tails.
Yeah, I was gonna say it protects the rafters, the end of the rafters from rotting.
Yeah, so I crawled up there and took a hammer and I hit some of the rafter tails, and they seem pretty solid. The bottom 3 rows of the purlins all the way around are rotted. We're gonna have to redo those bottom 3 rows of purlins. And so that's a must, that's gonna have to be done. And then that one side, the south side of the window overhang is gonna have to be redone. It's drooped bad enough that we're not gonna be able to put steel on it without shimming it. And it's gonna be shimmed so high, it's just not gonna look right at all. Yeah, I was a little disappointed that they wouldn't allow us to do that.
Well, is what it is, I guess.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was originally looking at putting some cedar out there and staining it or painting it the same color, and it would have looked nice.
I'm kind of concerned if those purlins are rotted, those last 3 rows, what does the rafter look like that those purlins are sitting on at that point? I mean,
You
that's
know, I
hard to
got up
tell.
there and smacked with the hammer, and it seemed solid.
Seems solid. Huh.
You know, I smacked several of them. I mean, I didn't go all the way down through there, but
Of course, that'd be on the inside of the wall. The purlins, or no, the
no,
purlins
they're on the
are
overhang, and
Maybe on the
overhang up to the edge of the wall.
Is that, okay.
And the rafters seem fine. I did not put any quantities in the bid spec for rafters. I did put it in for the bottom 3 rows of purlins, and then I also figured like 10% for the rest of the purlins. As they're tearing that off, they may find some that's broke or rotted or something. And then the 1/2-inch plywood, I spec'd in there.
Sorry about that, I was looking up rafter tails and hit a video by accident.
So, if we find a rafter tail that's bad, I'm envisioning we'll probably just go in there and put one against it and run down. Sure, we'll have to tear all that off and just put one.
Yeah.
But I didn't see anything, but I didn't check every one.
Yeah. And no more to tear into it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, quick question. Do you think it would make any impact on the DNR if the commissioners wrote a letter saying we disagree with what you say, and/or our state legislators? That we're trying to preserve a bridge, not have to go back and do more work, 10 years later because of their decision.
I can reply that. You guys tell me whatever you'd like me to put in that. I don't disagree. I think it would really help the longevity of the bridge, the rafter tails, because right now, the way that is, all that water's gonna come down, hit all them rafter tails.
Yeah.
And they're not pressure treated, from what I can tell looking at it.
No, they wouldn't be.
I was trying to find her email here, so I could read it to you. But I've not seen it. I must have put it in my covered bridge. Let me see if it will pull up on my phone here. She says, "Good morning. I pulled the NR file for the bridge and was able to find some photos of the bridge in the 70s, and there is no evidence that there has ever been fascia board along the length of the bridge. While I understand the request, the exposed raptor tails are a character-defining feature of the bridge, so they need to remain exposed."
What if we've had somebody try to look at, like Mary Deal or somebody like that, look in the old pictures and see if something was different in the 1800s? First built it.
We could. I've got several pictures in my office of it, and I don't.
It's all got exposed tails all through the years.
Yeah, I don't think you'll find any pictures where it ever had them. I'd be surprised. But, yeah,
So she pulled the National Registry file, is what she pulled, what the NR file is. So,
we could sign something, send it in DNR.
what's that, Bill?
I suggest signing something and send it in to DNR. Write up something.
I can draft up a letter
Yeah, why don't you do
and
that?
send it to you guys again if you like. I mean, if that's what you'd like me to do, I can do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
I realize it's I don't want to say waste of your time, but yeah,
Okay. I will write something up, send it to you guys. If you agree, then we'll. I might just put it on one of your letterheads, taking your signatures off, that way you don't have to sign it, and just put respectfully Board of Commissioners. And that way I don't have to bring it before you to sign it, but I'll put it on one of your letterheads
Yeah.
and send it.
Do it on letterhead.
Okay. I can do that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Sounds good. I think that's all I have for you guys.
One thing I have for you is a couple of the Butler residents have reached out to me wondering about the County Road 40 and when that intersection is going to be worked on.
I'm not for sure. NDOT said they're creating a work order for that with no timetable for it to be complete. So I would speculate within a month or two, I would guess, but I can't confirm that. So, but it's in the works. That's all I know.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
Nope.
That cleans it up.
Okay, sounds good. Yep, thank you guys. If you need something, let me know. And I'll try to get you a letter out here soon to look at.
How much salt you got left?
There's a decent amount in there. I hit my 80%, so I necessarily wouldn't have to order anymore, but I'm thinking about ordering some just to carry over. Yeah. We went through a lot of salt. I'm glad we had the facility we had because I haven't experienced it because of the salt I'm able to carry now. But a lot of people, Allen County and them's experimenting salt shortages because of getting deliveries. Big article in the paper here a week or 2 weeks ago, Allen County, city of Fort Wayne is not getting enough salt to maintain because their deliveries just aren't coming. So worked out good for us. If there is a shortage of salt or delivery, that we had the facility now that we could store the salt and not have to deal with that. If I'd have been in Auburn, yeah, we'd have been in trouble. Because after every event, I had salt coming in. I just couldn't store enough there.
Good deal. Good deal.
So that's another good thing of having what we have.
Efficiency.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. That a wrap, it seems like?
Okay.
Okay, Ben.
All right,
Have a
you
good
guys
one.
have a good day.
We'll catch you later. Well, we got 15 minutes to Dana. She come early? Don't matter, I guess. We're still gonna have to fill in.
Yeah, I can ask her in a minute.
You got anything else?
Okay, back to the JRAC board thing. They meet quarterly on Mondays at noon in the prosecutor's office.
I'll do it.
Okay, so motion to appoint. And I already told him, I told Judge Squiller that nobody, whoever was decided that nobody would be there on the 17th because we already had a full day of insurance, lunch, and following presentation. So he knows that nobody will
He
be there.
knows that, so
Yeah.
we'll do it on, okay.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, miscellaneous. Anything else on anybody's mind?
I might. Oh, I know,
I just wanted to bring up Baymont. Andrew and I were talking to Jody out in the foyer there that he has made, what was it, 6 payments, Andrew? Only for
Yes, he's
female.
made some recent payments, but none of it on the fines and interest. Because each time you make a late payment, there gets to be a 5% fine, and then if it continues, it's like a 10% fine, plus any interest and, I believe, attorney fees. So I'm going to continue to pursue a default judgment on that one.
Yes, he's paid 6 of the, I think, 9 payments, but he's not paying on the fees or the penalties. He's just paying what is owed, and this is stuff from back in like 2022.
22.
This is not recent stuff. It
and I
was-
don't know if all those checks were good.
They cleared last week. I talked to Jody last Friday. They just.
Joni.
Joni.
Okay.
It cleared, it was past the 10 days, they cleared.
Okay.
So those we were kind of waiting to see what happened with those, make sure they cleared, because he has written bad checks before.
Multiple.
But he still is not, he's kind of, I don't want to say he's refusing, but it seems like he's not wanting to pay the penalties and fees on it. So.
Anything else? Susan?
The only thing I had was if Kellen wanted to talk any more about County Road 65.
Oh, that was my question for Ben.
Oh, he's standing. I think he's, yeah, he's standing right there.
You were made to do that. He's still not listening.
That's because Rick's talking to him.
Sorry, Ben, we have another thing for you.
Right?
A little worried now?
What kind of road was that, 56?
65.
65. We talked about it a little bit. You want to talk about it? The one that we
What
never
you
had.
called me about?
Yes.
Anything on it. A little bit I know.
Oh, the one that's,
With-
we don't own, we don't.
Right.
Just to
Well,
clarify that, because there was never any.
there's you know, the thing you guys gotta remember, a lot of people don't realize, back when the inventories of the roads was done years ago, the state went through and did a GIS map off of like looking at satellites and all these, and they signified a lot of these as roads. It's not uncommon for us to have a farm path or a road that didn't exist, that was potentially going to exist, but a lot of them was a farm lane or something like that. In the last 3 years, I went through our inventory and got rid of a bunch of them that I don't even know why we had them as a road inventory. So with that being said, I went back through what I had, what the surveyor had under a road inventory, and I never found anything that said that County Road 65, that part of that section, was existence or ever dedicated to the county, that we ever had jurisdictional over it. I've got a few employees that's been with me over 30 years as well, and they've said we've never done anything with it. I followed up with them, sent everything I had to Andrew Cruz, and told him what we had, what we showed, what didn't show, and what my thought was of it, along with the attorney. He's working with Wayne King's attorney in Ohio, and it's not ours, from anything I can find. So we really don't have anything to vacate or any of that for that section.
If there was any evidence that the county had taken control of it, that would be different, but, or any evidence of county control, anything in the record, I haven't been presented anything, so I don't have any reason to say why the county would even have any right to do anything with it, let alone responsibility.
You've informed both landowners on both sides.
I did not inform any landowners of it other than Wayne King, because Wayne called me personally, and then I dealt with Wayne's lawyer, and then Andrew, and Wayne's was going to replace that culvert. Well, this was, man, it was in the last fall, I think you and I was talking about.
It was a while back that this all came up the first time, and I thought it was kind of put to bed.
Right.
months
Wayne
ago, but-
said he was gonna do that culvert. It evidently hasn't been done, and try to keep
I
an
was
eye
just
on it,
asked
see.
what happened with it. Somebody asked me about it. That it's been looked into, discussed. We don't have anything.
County doesn't have any control over it.
So if Wayne wants to replace a culvert, he just should go replace it, correct? I mean, it's,
Because as far as I know, it's not doing any road harm, road damage up there. That means to drain the county road right away. Our ditches aren't made to drain people's fields and properties and things like that.
There's a complaint that the water's not getting down the ditch, it's going over into the field, flooding the field.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know the severity of all that. I haven't been up there and looked at it. Mark has, my assistant, but I have not. If Wayne said he would do it, I'm pretty sure Wayne will probably do it.
I would agree with that.
should we notify him again of that, is waiting for that to be done so he can put that to bed, that they should have bed? I'd like to see it done before crops, so that field
It's
doesn't
in our
flood.
road right away. We have the authority to request a pipe be replaced or maintained. But it is by ordinance, private drives are the responsibility of the landowners. That was the dispute, because one party thought it was ours and it wasn't, and so we went through that to clarify that it wasn't counties. Between Wayne and, I can't remember the landowner that lives up there, somebody's got an easement through up through there. There's even a deeded easement for that that's recorded that I sent Andrew over that. So there's another thing that shows that it's not county. Getting deed a easement on the county road, so.
Appreciate it.
Yep, no problem.
Okay, thanks, Ben.
Yeah. Away from the door this time.
Okay. Dana, you can come right on up.
You want to go?
You could sit down.
Yeah. Turn the mic on, pull the mic up to you.
Okay, so as my letter stated, we have some precinct boundary changes, which is the responsibility of the commissioners to sign the order. We can only make changes at certain times, and there's no election this year, so we need to do it now. City of Auburn has done 3 annexations. Do you want me to go over the properties, or do you have them in front of you? Okay.
Just for anybody that's watching.
Okay, so Tom and Kathy Smith have a property at County Road 35. They're currently in Union 9, which is outside of city limits, and we want to move them to Union 11. The next property, I cannot pronounce.
It's across from the
Yeah.
hospital.
CHAUDHARI, West property. Again, currently Union 9. We want to make it Union 11. Third one is the Parkview Health West across from Home Depot. They are currently Kaiser 5, and we would like to make them Kaiser 6. So it just makes it easier for the city limit lines to follow the precinct boundary lines for voting purposes, is why we want to do this.
Any questions?
So you need a motion, and then you'll have to sign
The order establishing.
And we could take them all at once.
Yeah.
Would so move we accept the recommendations for the changes to the precinct committees as presented.
I'll second.
To the precinct boundaries?
Boundary.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. We have motion and a second on the floor. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed. Motion carries.
Do you have certain papers, or can they just sign these, or had, okay.
It's not that scary in here, is it?
Here.
We got a half
I don't know if
hour.
anybody from the public wanted
Okay. You got,
to, the public wanted. I didn't know if anybody from the public had wanted to bring anything up.
any comments from public? Anything else? Commissioners?
So we had Baymont's a separate thing, but the county, what is it called?
Oh, Country Inn and Suites.
Country Inns and Suites is a little different than what we can do with the Baymont, so I didn't know if you would be able to explain.
Sure. So with Baymont, the owner of the Baymont Hotel that's running the hotel on a day-to-day basis also owns the real estate, which means that any judgment we get against the hotel is a judgment on the real estate. It's great. Country Inn and Suites, it's different than that because they're two separate ownerships. In fact, I would guess most hotels keep, the operating company separate from the company that owns the real estate, and that's the way it is on Country Inn and Suites. But we're pursuing both hotels for the back non-payment. Yep, we're pursuing both.
Okay.
Clarify that so you guys kind of, I talk about Baymont on a regular basis. I want to make sure you guys are kept informed on it and stuff.
Yep. We're going after both because there was quite a bit of non-payment on both. And it was the same manager person we've been dealing with on both, I believe. Ganesh, yeah.
Anything else?
Building if you want to.
Let's go back to the building. Let's go back to that, open that back up. Excuse me. Talked to Mayor Mike Hartman. They did a bot over there and they saved money with it. He said if you go bid process, if you get a change order that's over the limit, you got to go back through the process, rebid to change order, strings it way out time-wise. Sometimes you lose your contractors, your subs. And he said their next project would be a bot. And he liked the idea of of doing it that way, and just a little input from another source.
My biggest concern about it is going to be the legislation that's going on right now. We don't know how things are going to look financially going forward with all the over 1,000 bills that are down there being discussed right now. I think it is a need that needs to be looked into. I don't know anything about, Rick was talking about the overall looking at all the offices and where they're going to be at. I don't know if, I guess I don't know anything about that situation. It might have been done by previous commissioners of determining who's going to be in the courthouse, who's not going to be in the courthouse and whatnot. So I just kind of would like to learn more about that to see like what that's kind of fleshing itself out. But I would want to table until at least after legislation's been determined to see what our financial future looks like so that we can make a better plan going forward of what we're going to do. That's my biggest concern, really.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, but I think a lot of doom and gloom has been painted around this situation. Some misrepresentation of the facts, and is that it's not really a decrease, it's a decrease in the increase, as I understand it, what I've read on it. And there again, if we don't do it now, when are we going to do it? Just kick it down the road and it's going to double in price. So we just keep doing these projects and they keep doubling in prices. This is one we can eliminate, hopefully, the double in the price. And it's not like it's big money. It doesn't involve a bond. We pay it off, it's done. And then we move forward, and we can start saving for the jail. What Rick wants to save for the jail is going to be, it's going to be bonded, obviously. And there's going to be tax money there to pay the bond, at least for 10 years. And so he tried to save for the jail by increasing the jail tax 2 years ago and got turned down 6-1. So nobody's interested in saving for the jail. That was the opportunity to save for the jail, and it didn't pass council. So this business of saving their little nickel and dime for the jail should have been started 20 years ago. And we'd have had something in the pot. But to say we're going to save for the next 2 years and help with the jail payments is pretty minute. It's just not going to be there. And it's not bad policy per se, but it's just not going to make a whole lot of difference in those bond payments. They're going to be what they're going to be. And in the meantime, that was kicked down the road 10 years. And it has absolutely doubled from 20 to probably $40 million by the time we get it built. So
I'm just asking that we wait
here we go
until
again,
April.
kicking on down the road.
I'm just waiting until we push off until April when we get the legislation, then have a conversation then. That's what I'm asking, proposing. I'm not proposing to push it off a year, 5 years, 10 years. I'm just asking for 2 more months, a couple more months.
The quote then, we'll have to requote it. They'll have to requote
And
it.
we can talk to the contractors and see if they're willing to hold that off too, because I mean, they did it for the sewer
can do
district and
that.
stuff like that. So
do that.
knowing that, hey, we'll have a real discussion about it once we kind of get an idea of what these legislation bills. And it is some doom and gloom around it, I get it. But no one, I don't believe anybody truly fully understands what is going on because it changes so much every day that until we get a clearer picture of what's going on down there, we really need to not make any big decisions until we get to at least get an idea of what that's going to look like. So
And
that's,
I'll remind everybody again, right after we talked about this legislature is going to reduce our income, they turn around and give away a abatement in the same meeting. So that wasn't saving any money. So I don't get the concept. We can't spend it here, but we can spend it over here. And I don't get the concept. I don't understand why we're doing one thing and not the other. That's all I got.
just want to make sure my opinion was heard, and I know Jim's had his. We pushed up against pledge, that was all.
Okay. All righty. What else we got?
Erin's here.
Alliance Industries.
Yep.
Come
I
on
wasn't
up.
sure if you saw her coming.
Is that mic on? Is it blue or green? The light?
Blue light.
Push the middle.
There we go.
There you go.
All right. So I'd just like to start off by saying thank you for your support and commitment to funding Alliance.
Your decision to invest in our mission demonstrates your dedication to improving our community and ensuring that the essential services and resources are available to benefit all. This funding will not only have a direct impact on the individuals we serve at Alliance, but also is felt elsewhere throughout the community. 12 of our clients use the DART transportation services, and 8 of our clients are residents of Sunny Meadows. This funding will provide significant and lasting support for a few of our key initiatives this year, which are first aid and crisis management training for our direct support professionals, a few capital improvements to enhance the safety and security of our facility and the Alliance team members, additional fundraising efforts. So far this year, we have added 2 additional fundraising opportunities. We did the first annual campaign that Alliance has ever done, and we had a bowl-a-thon event, and both of those has raised a combined total of $10,101. So we're pretty excited about that. So this funding will also support board diversity. We've gained 3 new board members so far this year. And the one I'm most excited about is beginning in April, we plan to add additional life skills programming. We're going to start with a health and wellness series. We're going to host speakers to provide discussions and demonstrations on topics such as body awareness, fitness, nutrition, mental health, and mindfulness. And then followed by topics on financial health and responsibilities and project-based life skills training such as sewing, cooking, cleaning, gardening. And so that will carry into 2026. We hope that adding the additional programming will promote independence, enrich the lives of our clients, and bring awareness to our mission by bringing in professionals from within our community through outreach and involvement. We feel this approach will also open more diverse grant funding avenues. And that way we can reach our goal of 60% stability by 2027. So it's heartening to know that our county leadership values the needs of the community, and your efforts will undoubtedly make a difference in the lives of many residents, and for that we're deeply appreciative. So thank you again for your thoughtful consideration and support. So I look forward to reporting back with you shortly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions, comments? We got a contract to sign? No? Just appreciation.
Wanted to come. Thank you
Well,
for
thank you.
the support.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Things going well with the new addition?
Going well. Yep. Yep, we're very excited. Finally have the space to spread out and start doing a little additional programming.
Uh-huh. Good, good.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Well, keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Can
Thank
we
you
turn this back off?
Coming. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we
Yeah,
got,
one more thing I forgot.
Sure.
Did you guys get a look over the complaint form? The complaint form that Andrew sent out to everybody?
oh, yes.
'Cause I talked to Deja, and he said he could get it on the website, and he was working on that. He just needs to go ahead on the form to know exactly what the form looks like for us to put on the website for people.
Kellen had come to me asking me about it, and so I drafted one up for your review. You guys can change it. It's not necessarily a document that's following some sort of a statute. It's something you can change or amend if you need to do that.
You guys remember, did you have a chance to look over it?
I saw it. I don't remember what comments I might have had. I don't think I had it. I think it looked fine.
It's pretty basic, you know.
Let me,
the type of complaint, what the complaint's directed at, I guess, or the department it's directed at. The name.
You emailed it to me, I thought you emailed it to them too. Like, I'm trying to see.
I thought I maybe had Rachel email it to all three of you, or I did, but I could have been wrong on that, I don't know. We can email it out again if you want.
I'll be here somewhere.
Can I email it to you and print it off so they can look at it? Okay.
Go for it, because
We talked about it last meeting.
I know, but I haven't seen it. Like,
So,
I don't know what you're looking at.
I just sent it to you.
Okay.
Did get an email here from Lynn Reinhold. He stated, thanks Lynn, if he's watching this. He said that he was by the intersection of State Road 1 and County Road 40, and there is, let me read this, paint lines, white lines for the underground location services for the State Road 1 for the new sign installation locations. So he believes that there is going to be some movement out there pretty soon, since they're already kind of painting for that kind of installation. Because those are only good for a couple of weeks. So he sent me an email, I just wanted to pass it on to you guys, so.
There were paint, what'd you say, paint lines?
There was, I saw that NDOT had painted the white lines for underground location services on State Road 1 for the new sign installation locations.
Okay.
I think I maybe had just emailed it to you, Kellen, saying that, you know, all three commissioners would need input on it. I don't know that I ever officially emailed it out to all three.
Okay. Gotta take a look at it. So we have the, for the department on it, they just said that he could have it set up that depending on how they determine the department, it can go, so if there's a complaint to the highway, it will go to the three commissioners and then to Ben. It can be sent directly to the three, to them, if it's a health board, or if it's HR, or whatever the situation it'll be automatically distributed to the director head that would be involved. Now, if it's a general, where I asked him to see if we can put like a general tab, and that would come to the three of us, and then we can determine where that needs to be sent off to. The only thing I don't like on this form is that last sentence. It says the signature and contact information are required.
That was going to be my comment is sometimes for a complaining party, I wouldn't want to have that required.
Yeah.
That's fine. This was just a
Sometimes it needs
proposal,
to
like I
be-
said. Yep.
Yeah.
You can change that. Yep.
No signature,
Well,
No, they can have a signature if they want to, but not to be required.
not being required.
If they want to do the
Because
signature.
Have it on there as a
Says the name and
suggestion, but not a required.
Yeah,
Yep.
the name and address is
Yeah.
up above that, so, yeah.
Yeah, just so that way, if there's someone within the department that wants to bring up something to light, it's not going to be a public, because this will become a public, I believe, a public forum that can be,
It wouldn't be confidential necessarily, no.
yeah, so so we give that the opportunity to it, so.
but could this not be used as a confidential? It goes to the three commissioners, something that needs to remain as confidential, that it not go out to the department head?
Well, you could either, I mean, you could start by saying that, I mean, you could put a warning on the top or something saying this is a public document, or this is not confidential, or something like that. If you wanted to put a warning on it.
They just said, and maybe he can come over and explain more, is that they're going to be able to click a button on what department it is. If they want to leave it general, we could put, it will go just to, or just to commissioners. We can have a button that just to the three commissioners. They were looking at the interfacing of that and everything that's all IT stuff. So. It'll become public record for sure.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
if
it's
somebody would do a
record.
public records request, I think it would have to be provided.
Yeah, because it comes to the commissioners and it'd be, that's why I don't want to have the
Well,
signature. and
even if
contact
it doesn't
information.
come to the commissioners. If something comes to me, they can do a public records request.
But all these complaints will come to the commissioners.
They're
I
fine.
understand, okay.
Because I
But
think that's
understand
what
you're
you
saying too,
want, right? I mean, that was your goal anyway, was to have it come to the commissioners for every complaint, so you're aware of it.
So that email that when it gets sent from here to us automatically will be public record.
And
Even
then
if
one
it's
of
sent
you
to
will let me know if I need it for a meeting or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to inundate Susan with all of them. So we'll just, whatever
Please-
ones we follow
please
up with,
no.
we'll follow up with Susan on it. If we need to bring it to a meeting. But besides that last sentence, I'm okay with the general feel of the rest of it. You guys are okay with that? I think we need a motion, and then, and I can work with Beja on that part of it and come back to you again the next 2 meetings and have you guys take a look at it as they do some testing and stuff on it.
Go ahead and do a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Motion to approve the form as amended.
The form as amended for Beja to move forward with the complaint form on the website.
Okay, have a motion on the floor, or have a second? Any additional comments?
Nope.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed, motion carries.
And just for anybody that's watching, this is for government workers and for the public. So,
Okay,
clarify.
anything else? Oh, on the new building, there's no point in taking it to the council, is there, at this point?
I'd try to feel for how they feel about it. I mean, we can make we can approve it, but if they're not going to fund it, then
No.
As I say, I think you
still
probably
take it.
should, so that they know what is
What we're talking about.
possibly in the works,
Okay,
so that they don't feel like they're just blindsided when the next discussion happens. Because, yeah, I mean, if they don't fund it, then it's gonna
okay,
stop.
get a feel for, like Rick said, get a feel for what they're feeling over there about it.
it's on the agenda? Okay. Okay. All right. Anybody need a break for the executive session?
Yeah,
Now's the time to take it.
take a 5-minute break.
So we are going to go off air, off live stream for executive session, and then we will reconvene at 12:15 for the rest of the meeting.